Ah, fuck. This fucking thing. Oh my god. You know what? Welcome to Truth or Raps. I'm gonna do something that is just bizarre. How about this, guys? Is this gonna be way worse, or is this gonna be uh, way better? Well, there's one way to find out. Let's do it and see if it's a horrible video, sound-wise. So here's the thing with the Dark Souls thing, though. I beat Ornstein and Smaug, and it was like, not only was it like a tough battle, and not only did it seem like they were really kind of like making fun of you whenever you died because of the long distance you were going to have to run get back to the boss battle again. Not only it, uh, you know, did that, like, oh, you have to run back all across an Orlando, or all across the bridge to get here again. But, well, here's the thing. I beat the boss fight, and yeah, not only were they like making it kind of, well, cinematic. It was, in one sense, it was a cinematic approach to the boss fight. In another sense, it was a really grueling one to do over and over again. And they not only are they like making it seem like it's a big event, but they like after it, I won't say what happens, but essentially like after it, there's a big story element that happens. Like one of really probably like the biggest story element, because prior to that, it really doesn't seem like there is a story. And then like there's like a story element, and it's like, oh, okay, well, that's something. And then essentially like you unlock like advanced parts of the game after you beat these guys. So it's like, it's a big deal. And guess what? I guess it's partly me being stubborn, because there are four places you can go after this. Like, you can go anywhere, but there are four places that you have to go after this boss fight. Um, and you can go to any of them, or I think you can go to any of them that you know how to get to. Basically, that you can go to any of them that you can actually get to. And if you can't, then you might have to like beat an area that you didn't play before or something. I don't even know. But anyway, these to get to the one of those places, I had to go through this area where there were these enemies that you couldn't hit. There were these fucking ghosts, and most of the ghosts in this game and in other Soulsborne games that I've played, most of the ghost characters you can actually hit them. These ghosts you can't. Or I think you like seem to make contact with them, but it does zero damage, or it just goes right through them. But either way, there are specific ways that you can fight the ghosts, and these ghosts are like all over the place in this area that I think you have to go through to get to the one of the four option plans that I chose. Like I wanted to go to this option, and this option was through the Ghost Land. And the Ghost Land, and I've gone to the Ghost Land before, and I just ended up leaving like prior times because you can't hit the ghosts, and the ghosts are fairly powerful, so the ghosts can kill you fairly quickly. And they're, as I found tonight, if you go certain places, there are a lot of them. And if you just run past them and say, okay, I'm not going to kill them, I'm just going to go past, then it's easy for them to just corner you in a group, and you can't even like get past all of them, and they're just attacking you as you try to push through the mob. So these ghosts, I looked it up online, and of course these ghosts can be killed with certain things, and one of them is just like a particular weapon that they can be killed by. I guess. I hope I'm not I hope it's not just like a good weapon for hitting them once you get a different item, because I want to get this weapon so that I can just use that rather than like looking for these consumable items that give you a short period of time where you can actually fight the ghosts. It's like I don't want to deal with that. I'd rather put forth some effort to get a weapon that I can fight the ghosts with anytime I want. But because see, it's like there's a great book by Terry Pratchett. I have it over there, Moving Pictures, and there's a character in the book who is like the laziest guy in the city or something, or the laziest man in the world or something. But the thing is, he's actually like a very physically fit. And Terry Pratchett says like you wouldn't, you might not, you might be thinking it's weird that like that a physically fit guy would be a really lazy, but he remained physically fit because it was like it took more effort to do things if he wasn't strong enough to like lift certain things or whatever. Like essentially he remained disciplined enough to be physically fit to make the rest of his life easier because he was so lazy. And so it's like that's kind of how I feel. It's like I don't want to deal with, oh, you have to eat this item, like take this consumable item. I hate the word consume. Take this consumable item. I talk about that elsewhere, but I can certainly talk about it again or find where I did. But you take this item, and then I think you get like 5 real world minutes of like fighting them and actually hitting them, which is actually pretty good. But once the item's gone, it's gone. And it's like, I don't want to deal with that. Then if you run out, you have to find more. And then what if you can't find more? Then what do? It's like, I'd rather just get a weapon, like go through the effort to get a weapon that would make my time there a lot easier and more leisurely. So I go somewhere else. I've got to go through a different place full of ghosts, but these ghosts I can fight, although they're still kind of annoying, but having returned to them after like beating this other boss, like essentially I haven't fought those guys in a while, so having returned to them, they're a lot easier to deal with. I don't know if I ever killed one of those ghost guys in this other area before, but I did now. And so that was easy enough to deal with. But then midway to the boss arena, the boss I have to apparently beat to get something that I have to get the weapon that I have to then, or to mix with the weapon and then get the right weapon somewhere else, actually near the boss fight that I was talking about in an Orlando with the 2 guys, interestingly enough. There's a blacksmith there, but these freaking like they looked like otters, like sea otters, or more like lake otters, I guess, or something. But they looked sort of like cute otters, but they had the bodies of like kind of like low bears, or like they were essentially just like bear-sized otters, and they'd like roll at you really fast. And like I almost killed one of them, and I didn't realize there was more than one, and then another one came and killed me, and it was just, and so like I kept going back and fighting these fucking otters. Luckily, once you beat the otters, and I found a way to just totally beat them like super cheaply, like once you actually like beat all 3 of them, like they didn't reappear. Most enemies like reappear after you like die, or after you go and go to a bonfire and sit there or something. In the game, most of the enemies will reappear. Basically, the area will be reset, but some enemies don't, and these ones didn't, and neither did some of the other enemies, I guess. And thank goodness. So then, like, I went all the oh fuck this thing. I went all the way around, and this fucking I went all the, and I thought I found the boss arena, which I did, but I was like, I'm gonna go over there because there was, or I didn't see the boss arena until I went over to this place, and I went up these like stone steps, and like I went across this little bridge, and then there was this guy waiting there, and he fucking killed me. And so but then I realized I went all the way back around the way I came, and I went all the way back around and beat this guy, and I realized, and I kept going all the way, I realized that it was actually just a much shorter path, much easier path back to where I started from. So I took that left-hand path, interestingly enough, take the left-hand path. That's sort of a Dark Soulsy thing to do. I took the left-hand path. It was much easier, and I just run to the boss arena to fight this boss. And now that's the boss I'm fighting right now. And it's this big wolf, like this giant wolf, like he's like, 17 less feet tall, like between 15 and 17 feet tall or something. He's a huge wolf, and like he has this gigantic sword that he like wields in his mouth, and he like shakes his body around and slashes you. And it seems like he might be an easy enough fight, kind of, but it's still a long enough run to his fucking boss battle that it's like, oh god, now I'm stuck here and I'm doing this fucking run to a boss battle thing again. And it's like, I'd be fine like battling this guy over and over again, essentially restarting the battle again and again. That'd be fine. But having to run all the way back to him every single time. Anyway, but that's the thing. Like, I really love Dark Souls is a cool game, but I've got to say I had more fun with Dark Souls 2 because it seems like Dark Souls 1 is like a grittier, tougher game. Like it's grimmer. It's just like whereas Dark Souls 2, it felt a little more arcadey. It was like a little more like playing whack-a-mole or something. Like it was fun. You die a lot in Dark Souls 2 as well, but it's like this game, it's just like, man, every freaking time, like just essentially every step of the way is just this little impasse. And it's like, I beat this like freaking these big like boss enemies, and like I had tried them for a long time, and I finally did it. It was finally victory. And now I'm just back in another situation with another boss, and it's like, oh god, it's like every step of the way. Like it's like there was no like there really was no like grace period. There was such a lack of one a grace period. One of those one that like literally after I beat the boss, like after I beat Ornstein and Smaug, I unlocked I lit the bonfire like above them, and I talked to this I talked to this character, and then I zapped back to the hub area, and it's such like a devastating game, and it's such like a lack of like uh, reward for anything, or like a lack of basically like it never lets up, and so it's so not letting up that I go back to this frickin' like original area, and then I realize, oh shit, the bonfire isn't lit because the frickin' bonfire soul or whatever got killed by some guy that I didn't realize, like if I didn't kill him somewhere else or something, then he would go and kill the bonfire guy, and so, or the bonfire girl actually. And so it was like, okay, like, and it was like, you know what, I want to, and I didn't even know where to go. Like it was actually pretty close by, and all I had to do was go talk to someone else to do the next thing. But like I literally like I didn't even know where to go, and it was like I just spent all this time beating these bosses. I don't even know where to go, and I go back to this cold dead bonfire.